We're here on a final hearing. Mr. Albie's with us for the department. Ms. Ledbetter's with us for, I'm sorry, Ms. Talley's with us for CASA. Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the child. Mr. Barfield is with us representing the mother, Ms. Angton, and Mr. Adams is with us representing the father, Mr. Hatcher. The parents are not with us and they're not in the waiting room. Mr. Barfield, were you expecting your client?
No, Your Honor, I was not. My client has signed an affidavit of relinquishment.
Okay. All right. Mr. Adams, were you expecting your client?
Same answer here, Judge.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have Roxanne Thunderberg and Haley Grissom in the way. You're ready to proceed. Mr. Albie, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Miss Haley Grissom. Indica is currently placed where?
She's in a foster home in Panhandle, Texas.
And she has been in that foster home basically since right after her birth.
Yes.
That foster home is meeting all of her needs.
Yes, they are.
As far as you know, she is meeting all of her developmental goals and is on target.
Yes, she is.
Are there any concerns with that placement?
No, there are not.
Is that placement a possible permanent placement for Indica?
It is not. We actually have an approved ICPC home study on a relative.
All right. So it's the policy of St. Francis Ministries and the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services to look for relatives if we were looking for a permanent placement.
Yes, that's correct.
And did we find a possible relative who would be willing to take Indica on a permanent basis?
Yes.
Where is that relative located?
It is a great aunt, a maternal great aunt, and she is located in Stockton, California.
And there was an ICPC home study completed on the great aunt.
Yes.
And Miss Brandt's home study was approved.
Yes, it was in late December.
Both in California and in Texas.
Yes.
So we are looking at placing, with the court's approval, Indica outside of the state of Texas back into this family home.
Yes, sir.
Indica, but that home would be free from any substance abuse.
Yes, it would.
And would be free from any criminal issues.
Correct.
It would be stable financially.
Yes.
Now, as far as Indica's parents are concerned, Miss Danielle Angton is Indica's mother.
Yes.
Are you aware that she recently executed and we filed an affidavit of relinquishment of her parental rights?
Yes, sir. Was
that done on her own initiative or something that you or first of all, was that done on her own initiative?
Yes, it was.
You didn't ask her to do that. You didn't force her to do that. You didn't make her sign that affidavit in any form or fashion.
No, I first heard of it from her and her lawyer.
Would you agree with me that then that would be a voluntary affidavit of relinquishment?
Yes.
She and Mr. Hatcher moved to Colorado 9 months to a year ago.
Yes, I think in May of 23.
And though she's had some employment since she's been up there, she's not been very stable with her employment.
No, she quit her job after a couple of months and hasn't found other employment.
And they've moved since they moved to Colorado. They've had a couple of different places to live.
Yes.
There are still some concerns about substance use.
Yes, there are.
And at one point in time, 4 or 5 months ago, she and Mr. Hatcher stopped exercising visits with the children or with this child.
Yes, it's been several months since I've even had a virtual visit with her.
With all that in mind, do you believe that it would be in the best interest of Indica for Danielle Angton's parental rights to be terminated based upon her affidavit of relinquishment?
Yes, sir, I do.
Indica's father is Nicola Hatcher.
Yes.
And he has the same issues that I just went over with Miss Angton.
Yes, same situation.
They're together. He still doesn't have a real stable employment. There's still some substance use issues, those sorts of things.
Yes, sir.
Did he execute an affidavit of relinquishment?
Yes.
And again, you believe he did that voluntarily?
Yes, I do.
You didn't ask him to do that or force him in any form or fashion to do that.
No, I did not.
Your Honor, at this time, we would offer as petitioners Exhibit 1, the affidavit relinquishment of Danielle Ankton, which was filed previously with this court.
All right, objections?
No objection.
All right, petitioners 1 is admitted.
We would offer as petitioners 2, the voluntary relinquishment of parental rights of Nicoa Hatcher, which was previously filed with this court.
Objections?
No objection.
All right, petitioners 2 is admitted.
Do you believe, Ms. Grissom, then that it would be in the best interest of Indica for Nicoa Hatcher's parental rights to be terminated today also?
Yes, I do.
Has Ms. Bryant in Stockton, California discussed with you the possibility that she might want to seek adoption for Indica?
Yes, that is her plan.
So that would be a permanent placement.
Yes, sir.
But currently, we're asking that the court continue the Texas Department of Family Protective Services as a permanent managing conservator till we work through the adoption process with Ms. Bryant in California.
Yes, sir.
You believe that's in the best interest of Indica?
I do.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Barfield, questions?
Pretty self-explanatory, Your Honor. No questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adams, questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Kincaid?
Yes, Your Honor. Is in her current placement, is the child getting all of her medical and dental needs met?
Yes, she is.
Okay. And has she, or are you aware, has she begun video visits with Miss Bryant?
Yes, they did start those probably about a week and a half ago. They started doing some FaceTimes. I just wanted her to get used to Peggy's voice and face, so it wouldn't be a shock when I took her out there.
Okay. And she's 1, so I mean, these can't be long visits, but they are ongoing currently.
Yes, the foster placement has told me that they're doing them about every other night with her to get her ready.
Okay. And it seems like communication between the placement and Miss Bryant are going well as well.
Yes, very well.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass witness.
All right. Mr. Alvin, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. We would rest.
All right. Mr. Barfield, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kincaid, recommendations?
I recommend the termination of parental rights of both mother and father, and to continue the current placement. Indica's doing really well, but there's permanency in California, and I think just because she's been with that placement for so long, maybe there needs to be a little bit of a transition, but they're already working through that. And she's doing well so far, but she's 1, so she can't get too far along in it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Ms. Talley, anything else from CASA?
Nothing to add, Your Honor. We're in agreement with the department and the ad litem.
Okay. All right then. All right then. Based upon the evidence I've heard today, as well as the affidavits of relinquishment that are on file in this case, I do find that it's in the best interest of the child and that the parental rights of the mother, Danielle Ankton, and the father, Nicoa Hatcher, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based solely on those affidavits of relinquishment, as well as Texas Family Code Section 161.001, subsection B1K. I will name the department permanent managing conservator. I'll continue Indica's current placement, but I will approve the placement of Indica with Peggy Bryant in Stockton, California, based on the ICPC home study that was approved. All right, we will have our next review hearing in this case on April 3rd, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance of April 3rd to see exactly what time we'll have that. Mr. Alvey is with us for the department. Ms. Talley is with us for CASA. Mr. Barfield is with us representing the mother, Ms. Massey, who is with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Miss Tippy Watson.
Okay, Mr. Alvey.
Miss Watson, you are a St. Francis Ministries permanency specialist.
I'm a permanency specialist supervisor.
And you're actually the supervisor in this particular case.
Yes, sir.
And you've been aware of all of the comings and goings and what's going on in this case so that you can testify to the progress of the parties.
Yes, sir.
John is a 17-year-old young man who has some special needs. Where is he currently placed?
He's placed in an HSC home in Amarillo, Texas.
And is that home meeting all of his needs at this time?
Yes, they are.
And that home actually has benefited him to help him regulate himself and learn how to do some things by himself.
That's correct.
Child's mother, Miss Massey, was ordered to work some services. Has she complied with the order and worked the services she was ordered to work?
Yes, sir. And she's continuing to work in her support groups.
And have you and your worker noticed that she has taken steps to be able to take care of John on her own?
Yes, sir. She's made great progress in her completing her services.
There was some alcohol abuse or possible alcohol abuse going on in the home. Has Miss Massey taken steps to curtail her alcohol use?
Yes, sir. Since her last clean or dirty screen was at the last court hearing right before it, she's had clean UA screens since then with no alcohol use. She's attended her AA meetings again. She's attending her therapy, and she's joined a women's group.
Recently, had you and your worker and Miss Massey sat down and began working on a plan to eventually have John return to her?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's talk about the plan that's been approved. Tell me what that plan is.
Okay. Right now, Miss Massey is getting her car fixed. So given John's stubbornness, I'll say, if we take him home for visits, he's not going to want to leave. So what we've decided to do for the next 3 weeks is Miss Massey will come for her normal visit time. Because we need to provide transportation, we will take her to a place. If she wants to go to a restaurant or the movies or wherever they want to go, we will leave her and John there. Let them have their unsupervised visit, then return him home, and then take Miss Massey home. After 3 weeks, if we have no issues with that, if we don't have any problems with John eloping, anything like that, then we'll do a weekend visit for John, February 9th. He'll stay the weekend. If there are no problems, no situations that arise from that, then we will place John in the home on February 12th. And then we'll monitor weekly for at least 8 weeks.
And have you talked with Miss Massey about this plan?
We have talked briefly about it. The plan, I approved it yesterday. So Mavis will be going over it with her this week when she sees her.
Now, John's behaviors are not your normal teenage behaviors. And he gets some specialized services at his home. Are we going to continue to provide specialized services to John?
Yes, sir. He has an HCS slot. And so he has respite that Mary already has an established respite provider. He will go to Dayhab during school breaks, summer breaks. He'll still have all the support services, behavior therapy, speech therapy, and all of his medical will still be covered under all of that.
So today you're asking the court to approve this plan that you've outlined?
Yes, sir.
You would ask the court to continue the department as temporary managing conservator while we oversee that plan,
Yes, sir.
including a number of weeks with John being back in the home 6 weeks or so from now.
A minimum of 8 weeks. If Mary needs more support, then we'll be in there longer, whatever we need to do to support her and John.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you,
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Barfield.
Yes, Your Honor, since I'm just kind of, obviously, one, I'm a late arrival to this particular case, which is fine. There was another attorney on there. I just heard this plan. Can I have a brief breakout room
Sure.
with my client?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll open that breakout room. Miss Massey, you may be asked to join the breakout room, or it may just put you in there automatically. Mr.
You had
Barfield,
asked-
did you have questions?
Actually, no, Your Honor, not necessarily. My client and I met in regards to the reunification plan that we just heard, because we just heard the specifics. We knew that was in the works. I do believe my client is in agreement with this proposed plan and wants to continue to make progress in this plan for reunification. So we'll do that. One concern, and if it's okay, I'll just do it this way. I'll just kind of tell you, is she obviously wants the overnight visit and everything. She just, because of John's behavior, she just wants to, she has a little bit of concern that because he has to go back after that one visit, that if he has an episode or something, that wouldn't be necessarily held against her because of the concerns that Ms. Watson already said, because she does, I mean, she wants to continue to move forward. She appreciates the help that you got, that, well, everyone's giving her in this case. So yeah, long story short, yeah, we're going to agree to the proposal set forth by what we heard today, but she just wanted the court to know that, if John has an episode or something because he has to go back for the one visit because of the nature of the plan, that it's not necessarily going to be held against her, just because of his special issues.
Okay, I understand that completely. If something comes up, the St. Francis or the department will be there to take care of her. And I will note that if this plan, if we need a little bit longer for things to work out well, that's fine. This case dismissal date currently is April 8th of 2024, but that could be extended if we need to for John's benefit. So we've got some wiggle room here. So, Ms. Watson, you were raising your hand.
Yes, sir. If I can clarify, John will not actually go back to his placement. If there's no problems over the weekend and Mary doesn't say, "Oh, I'm not ready for this," or whatever, he will stay there and we will officially do the placement that Monday.
I understand that.
That clears things up. Thank you, Kid.
And if something goes awry, we'll regroup and do
Yes,
what we need to for John and for Mary both. So
yes, sir.
Okay, well that helps. Thank you.
all right then, Mr. Albie, did you have anything further?
No, Your Honor, we'll rest. I know that
Okay.
CASA may have, we have not discussed this reunification plan with CASA either, so CASA may have some thoughts.
All right, and I don't know if you did with Ms. Kincaid. Ms. Kincaid, do you have questions?
I do, Your Honor. John is up to date on his medical and dental. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And he is on some prescription medications.
yes,
And among those are psychotropic medications.
yes,
And those are being closely monitored by his doctor.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And as for this placement, this plan, which I also have learned about it this morning, throughout the history of this case, and as everyone is aware, John is an active young man. He wants to participate in the community. Is this HCS slot designed to help alleviate some of those issues of absconding and wanting to participate in activities?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay. During periods, for example, when school was out during the holidays, he went to Dayhab in Amarillo and actually got to do that with his brother, who was in another program. It provides therapists for him as well. He'll have this education support, any kind of support that he needs, speech and language.
Okay. Him being in Canadian, is that going to be an issue?
Now, HCS serves the entire state of
Okay.
Texas.
So they would be able to reach him in Canadian without them having to travel to Amarillo to get these services.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, then, if there's nothing further, Ms. Kincaid, are you in agreement with this reunification plan?
I am. First of all, I want to thank Miss Massey for all the work that she's doing. John is just such an active kid, and she knows that better than any of us do. And I just, want to be sure that we're there to support them. And if we're moving too fast, then, slow it down. And if things are going well, I think we're really going to have to play this one by ear. But I'm in agreement that if he goes and does overnights, he's probably not going to want to go back to his placement. So, tentatively, yes, I'm in agreement.
Okay. CASA, Ms. Talley?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. We did have a question about, I know that we had talked about family therapy and I hadn't necessarily heard that was going to be started anywhere. And I just may have missed it. So if anybody has an update on that, I'd appreciate if that's still going to happen.
Yeah, I know I read in the report that the St. Francis and the department were asking for family therapy. Ms. Massey, you're muted. You'll have to unmute.
Yes, Your Honor. The therapist that I've been seeing at Rolling Hills, I've spoke to her about this because it was a concern of mine. And she wanted to take P's and Q's from John when he comes home to let him find his new normal before we go and start family therapy.
Okay.
we just wanted him to have a good adjustment period. I will continue to do my individual therapy with them until that time that we start the family therapy.
Okay, all right. I'll just order that will be, the family therapy will be at the recommendation of your therapist. So,
Yes.
okay. All right then. Okay, then based on what I've heard, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue John's current placement. I will approve the plan that has been testified to Ms. Watson as far as reunification with Ms. Massey, with the understanding if something goes awry, like I said, I can extend this case. He's got his slot with the HCS, so we'll just kind of play it by ear as we all talked about. Let's just do what's best for John. We can take a step back and try something different if we need to. So,
Yes, sir.
And again, I will go ahead and I will approve family therapy when it's recommended by Ms. Massey's therapist. Children, we're here on
All right.
status hearing. That will conclude. Mr. Albee is with us for the department. Ms. Talley is with us for CASA. Mr. Michelson, representing the children, is not with us. Mr. Persley is with us. His lawyer, Ms. Lucero, is not with us yet. And Mr. Ray is
Your
with
Honor,
us.
I'm on the phone. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right. Ms. Lucero is with us on the phone line. And then Mr. Ray is with us representing the mother, Miss Persley, who's with us. Haley's not with us today. She's out of town. So we'll just go ahead and I'll watch the waiting room to see if Mr. Michelson shows up. So, Mr. Albee, you may proceed.
Your Honor, do you have Erica Flores available?
Yeah. Yes, sir, I do. The only other person in the waiting room is Juana Tomas.
Where are they currently placed?
They are currently placed with Kinship and Canadian.
And is that placement meeting all of their needs this time?
Yes.
Are they making sure that the children are attending school on a regular basis?
Yes.
Have they made sure that the children have made all of their medical, dental, and counseling appointments?
Yes.
Are there any special issues or special needs with any of these children that we need to raise with the court today?
No, sir. They're all healthy.
Children's mother is Lindsay Persley.
Yes, sir.
And Miss Persley, have you and Miss Persley had an opportunity to sit down and discuss a service plan?
Yes, sir.
Did she help you in developing that service plan?
Yes.
Was she aware of the services that you wanted to put in that service plan?
Yes.
Did she object to any of the services that you advised her that you were going to add to your service plan?
No, sir.
Did you outline your service plan in the court report that you filed?
Yes, sir.
Did you provide a service plan for Miss Persley to sign?
Yes, sir.
Has she signed it?
Yes, sir.
And is it on file with the court?
Yes.
Are you asking the court today to make that service plan an order of the court at this time?
Yes.
James Persley is the father to these children?
Yes.
And have you developed a service plan for Mr. Persley?
Yes.
And did you develop that plan with Mr. Persley in person?
Yes.
And did you discuss the services that you were going to put in that service plan with Mr. Persley?
Yes.
And did he tell you that he objected to any of those services?
No.
If I told you that there's some objection to him completing a BIP program, is BIP part of the services that you put in that?
Yes.
What is BIP?
It's a battery and prevention program. It is for individuals who have, domestic violence involved as per the affidavit.
Okay. And in this particular case, part of the reason the children were removed from Mr. and Miss Persley was because of domestic violence.
Yes.
And in fact, they were arrested, or at least the law enforcement was called out at the time of the removal, and at least one of the parties had to go to the hospital.
Yes.
So you think that BIP is important in this case?
Yes.
In addition, you've asked for a rational behavior therapy class?
Yes.
What is a rational behavior therapy class?
That is just, it's an 8-hour class and they just assess them on seeing if they need any additional services.
And it's a general class that we send parents to who have had their children removed.
Yes.
Are you asking that the court continue the rational behavior therapy class in this service plan?
Yes.
Did you send a service plan to Mr. Persley for him to sign?
Yes, sir.
Has he signed it?
Yes, sir.
And did you file that with the court?
Yes, sir.
And it's outlined in your court report also?
Yes, sir.
Are you asking the court to, are you asking the court to approve that service plan and making an order of the court today?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if Miss Persley is working anywhere?
I am aware that she has her own business. I believe it's called Mama Peas. It is a casserole business. But other employment, no, but her business.
Do you know what her income from that business is?
She stated that she makes around $250 a week. So she said about like $1,000 a month.
Do you know if Mr. Persley is currently employed?
Yes.
Do you know where he's employed at?
I believe it is, I forgot what the name was, but it's like an oil rig employment.
Has he provided you with income proof how much he's making each month?
No, sir.
Has he told you how much he makes a month?
Yes.
Can you tell me how much that is?
He said between 8 and 10, depending on the year.
So $8,000 to $10,000 a month?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Do you know if either Miss Persley or Mr. Persley are required to pay child support for any other children other than the children that are in the current care of the department?
Not that I'm aware of. No, sir.
And are you asking the court to order child support from both parties today to be paid directly to placement as opposed to going through the Attorney General's office?
Yes.
But let me interrupt, Mr. Albee. I cannot do that any longer. They changed the statute. It has to go through the Attorney General's office.
Okay. Ms. Flores, is it your understanding that if we ordered it to go to the Attorney General's office, that often that money gets put into a trust account for the department and it becomes difficult to access?
Yes.
Are you requesting that both Miss Persley and Mr. Persley be drug screened today?
Yes. I had sent them yesterday and they did not go.
Okay. And so if we send them today, it would not be necessarily a random drug screen since we sent them yesterday, and they know that we're probably going to ask for it today.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Objection leading.
Would you rather just have them randomly drug screen on a monthly basis?
Yes.
Are you aware of any further domestic violence between the parties since the children were removed?
It was brought to my attention after the removal that cops were involved.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to hearsay unless she was present and has personal knowledge.
Obtained.
Ms. Flores, did you talk to Miss Persley or Mr. Persley about any additional domestic violence incidents?
No.
Did you talk to Miss Persley about having a fight with her daughter this weekend?
No. I was not aware of any fight.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question with her daughter?
I'm sorry, I've got to take this phone call real quick. Sorry for the interruption. Mr. Albee, you can proceed.
Ms. Flores, have you had a conversation with Ms. Persley about any conflicts between she and Gentry this past weekend?
No, I am unaware of any arguments that they've had.
do you do you feel that Miss Persley and Mr. Persley have worked sufficient services at this time that have alleviated the reasons for the children to be removed?
Yes.
Do you believe that those reasons have been alleviated at this time?
Oh, no, no, sir.
Okay. Do you feel like it would be unsafe to return the children to their parents today?
No.
One more time. Do you believe it would be safe? Okay, I think you answered that question. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
Do you think it would be contrary to the general welfare of the children to return to their parents today?
No.
Are you asking then that the court be continued as temporary managing conservator of these children?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Flores, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions again. Do you
Yes.
believe it would be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of these children to go home today?
Yes.
All right. Do you believe it would be contrary to the children's welfare to go home today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
then. Now, you may not know the answer to this, but I think I was told in a previous hearing within the last couple of weeks that the rational behavior training, that's through Troy Timmons. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. I've been told in other hearings that Troy Timmons is no longer going to do that. Are y'all aware of that?
No, sir. I was unaware of that.
All right. I don't know that to be a fact. I just know that was brought up in another hearing I had last week. So just be on
Of course.
notice
Yes,
that.
sir. I will.
Okay.
I will definitely give them a call.
Mr. Ray, questions?
Ms. Flores, regarding you made a request for a drug test yesterday of Ms. Persley, is that correct?
Yes, for James and Lindsay yesterday.
Okay. Were you aware that James is at work yesterday?
No, I was, yes, I was aware.
Okay.
But I know that they have asked me, and I've been very respectful of their work schedules, not to send them on Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Okay.
And James had mentioned that any time during the week would be fine, that he could just, go do his drug screening.
Okay. Are you aware at this time that they're having to share a vehicle in order for them to get to Canadian? I mean, from Canadian to Pampa?
No, Lindsay has her personal vehicle.
Are you aware that her personal vehicle this time is not working, not running? She's not able to use it all the way to get to Pampa.
No, sir.
Okay, what time was their deadline yesterday for them to arrive in Pampa for the testing?
The facility closed at 5, so they had to be there by at least 4.
Okay. And your understanding is they were unable to make it on time, is that correct?
Yes, Lindsay called me yesterday and how do I kind of upset that I sent them yesterday that they were not going to be able to go, but it is a random. I'm very respectful of their work schedules, and I told her that it would have to be done by today. I am unaware. I called this morning. They did not make it.
You're not objecting to them as a parent that James is off today, that both would be able to travel to Pampa to do this. You're not objecting to a request for them to do this testing today, immediately after court, are you?
Well, the reason that I was sending them yesterday is because it was brought to my attention that they were drinking on the weekend. So I really
I'll object unless they bring in the witnesses and stuff. This is hearsay that they can testify to the court of observing them drinking. That this testimony right here would be hearsay, Your Honor.
Who'd you hear that from, Miss Flores? Who told you they were drinking over the weekend?
It was brought to my this
Who told you? That's all I'm asking. Who told you they were drinking on the weekend?
Caregiver.
Okay, that's objectionably sustained.
How are the visitations going with parents and the children at this time? Are they getting their full 4 hours ordered by the court, or are they getting less than that amount of time?
No, they are getting their 4 hours. Visitations are going okay. The kids are kind of struggling a little bit on Tuesdays. Whenever they get home, they're getting home pretty late. Caregivers having a little bit of hard time, putting the kiddos to sleep. When they arrive, they have homework still. So they're not getting to bed till like 10, maybe 10:30-ish.
What time, when is their visitation scheduled? Is it a set day each week and at a
Yes,
set
sir.
time?
Yes,
What day of
sir.
week is it set?
They are Tuesdays from 4 to 8.
4 to 8?
Yes, sir.
So they're having to do that because they got to wait for them to be out of school, correct?
Well, that was just what was brought up in the adversary. But it's just caregivers struggling a little bit trying to get, the kid down.
Is it feasible to break their visits into 2 hours on 2 different days? Would that be feasible?
We can talk to the family support worker since she's the one that does the visits. I know right now her schedule is really full, and so she's having a really hard time trying. I know that we've talked to James and Lindsay about separating the time. James was okay with doing like a 3-hour visit and then 1 virtual. But Lindsay was against it. She did not agree.
And at this time, the caregivers, what's the relationship between the caregivers and Lindsay Persley and James Persley and the children?
So the foster dad caregivers, the dad and Lindsay at one point in time were married.
Okay.
So they have 2 children together, 2 older children.
If it's okay with court, would you be okay with some of the visitation instead of being done by the support worker, some of the visits being supervised by the placement, with this guy being her ex-husband? He is going to report any wrongdoings by them to the court, would you think?
Placement is not comfortable with hosting the visits.
Okay. There was a request made of for some child support regarding Lindsay Persley. What amount is the department asking each month for child support at this time?
Whatever the percentage is based off of, I'm assuming. Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, Lindsay makes different.
I'll handle that, Mr. Ray.
Okay, that's the kind of, I was curious because no figures were mentioned and stuff. I was just curious. This time, Your Honor, I'll pass the witness then.
All right, Ms. Lucero, questions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Flores, you had stated that the visits with the children are on Tuesdays from 4 to 8 p.m., right?
Yes.
Okay, and now, whenever there's been occasion where a visit has been missed on a Tuesday, but not on the fault on the parents, isn't that true?
Yes, I believe they had psychological or something.
Okay, let me ask, whenever these visits are missed, are y'all setting them up for a makeup visit?
Yes.
Okay, now Mr. Persley had advised, I guess, their visit next Tuesday. I believe that there's some kind of doctor's appointments for the kids on Tuesday of next week. Is that right?
Let me see. I believe that's probably with the smallest child. I believe he has a dentist appointment and they're going to be putting him under. Yes.
Okay. So are y'all going to be talking with the parents about rescheduling that visit?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at one point during the pendency of this case, the parents were having phone calls with the kids. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does the department oppose, if placement is okay with it, for the parents, well, I guess Mr. Persley, to have maybe just a 10 or 15-minute conversation with the kids on Thursday and Sunday of each week, if it works out with placement?
If it works out with placement, yes. If
y'all are okay with that?
If they're comfortable with it, then yes.
Okay. All right. And I was going to talk with you about the BIT program. Whenever you went over the service plan with Mr. Persley, did you advise him that in order for him to successfully complete the program, he is going to have to admit to domestic violence against Ms. Persley?
Yes.
Okay. You advised him of that?
Oh, well, it was on the service plan. I don't think that we went over it, but I did not let him know that that was something that he was going to have to say.
Okay. Now, isn't it true, as from the reports and the affidavits and maybe interactions you've had with Mr. Persley, that he has never stated or admitted that he's ever struck Ms. Persley? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I see on the service plan and in the report that y'all are asking for Mr. Persley to complete 2 AA meetings per week. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and you know that with the work that he does, it takes him approximately like 67 miles to drive into town to where he could attend an AA meeting or even do a drug screen. Were you aware of that if he's at work?
Yes.
Okay, does the department oppose Mr. Persley having these AA meetings virtually as long as he can obtain a log?
If they do them virtually, yes.
You're okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
Now, would you agree with me that the issue in this case has been the use of alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree with me that those issues possibly could be taken care of with the OSAR evaluation, the RBT, and the individual counseling? Do you think that would be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. So at this time, well, let me ask you this. During your involvement in the case and even prior to with the affidavits and things like that, Mr. Persley has never been arrested or charged at any time with domestic violence. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So again, you'd agree with me with the service plan, leaving out the BIP program, that the alcohol issue could be addressed with the service plan that y'all put together. Is that right?
I'm sorry, you want to leave out the BIP program?
Yes. Would you agree with me that as far as, since the issue you stated, mainly in this case is alcohol use, that the service plan, not including the BIP program, could address the alcohol issues?
Yes.
Miss Lucero, let's move on. I know what the court's going to do.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I know what the court's going to do about the BIP program.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on, Your Honor. Let's see here. Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Michelson, again, is not with us yet. He's in another hearing. He has texted me. So, Mr. Albee, anything further from the department?
Not of this witness, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ray, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Lucero, any witnesses?
Your Honor, I would like to call my client for a couple of questions.
Okay.
Okay, briefly. Mr. Persley, the question I have is just on your income that you work out at an oil rig. Could you let the court know what your gross income is per month?
Yeah, it's actually not an oil rig. I work for Merit Energy. It's a production company. And it's around I'd say 7,000, depending on overtime is involved there, stuff like that. But I would put that as
all right. And currently, are you providing insurance, medical insurance for the children? Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
I didn't hear his answer to that. Yes, he is providing insurance, or no, he's not.
Oh, I thought I heard yes. Yeah, he is, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. All right, then. Mr. Albee, did you have any questions for Mr. Persley?
No, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Michael's not with us. Okay, then. Ms. Lucero, any other witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Michelson is still not with us. So, Casa, anything to add?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. All right. First of all, I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator. I'll continue the children's current placements. I'll order the services for each parent as contained in their service plan. And let me address this BIP issue. If Mr. Persley, I'm going to order that he do the BIP evaluation. If he answers the questions and they say he doesn't qualify, then obviously he can't do the BIP program if he doesn't qualify. If he does qualify, then I'm going to order that he do the BIP program. If that can be, I don't know, I've never heard of that being done virtually, but if so, he could do that virtually. And on his other services, anything he can do virtually, that's fine because of his work schedule. I understand that. I'll order both parents to drug test when requested by either St. Francis or the department. So we talked about yesterday versus no, so I'll just order that they drug test when requested by the department. I'm going to order Mr. Persley to provide the department in St. Francis with his most recent pay stub by Monday, January 22nd, 2024 at 5 p.m. And then Ms. Lucero and someone from St. Francis or whoever, they can get together and see if they can agree on what the child support should be. I don't have enough information to set it today. If y'all can't agree, we can set it for a hearing, and then I'll let you subpoena the records and I'll make a decision. I did not hear enough about what Ms. Persley does with her own business, so I don't have enough information to set her child support at all. And since Mr. Persley is providing health insurance for the children, I'm not going to order any medical reimbursement. If y'all can come to an agreement on Mr. Persley's child support, then that will begin on February 1st, 2024, and be due and payable on the same day of each month thereafter until further court order. If y'all can't agree, we'll set it for hearing, and then the court will set the child support. Okay, I believe that covers everything. Our next permanency hearing will be on May 10th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of May 10th to see what time that hearing will take place.
Your Honor,
yes,
Your
sir.
Honor, can I have just one thing clarified real quick from instructions from the court regarding Ms. Persley? Her thing requires her to be provide income that's sufficient to support herself and the children. Is the home business sufficient, or does a court want her or require her to do other jobs outside of that to supplement that would be sufficient?
No,
Okay,
I
so
don't
the
know.
home job.
I don't. No, I just didn't hear. I heard what she may make, but if did you say it's a casserole business?
That's what I understand is casserole business.
So
Yeah,
I don't. I have no way to know whether or not what her expenses are in making a casserole. So she can just give St. Francis what they need, and y'all can either agree, and if you can't, we'll have a hearing.
Okay. I was just going to make sure that was satisfactory to the service.
I'm not going to order her to. I'm not going to order her to go get a job if she's got a job. So
thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing wrong with being self-employed. Did it for 30-something years. So okay. Again, next hearing May 10th. So we'll see y'all back then. Mr. Albie's with us for the department. Casa is with us. Mr. Adams is with us representing the child, and Miss Harvey, the mother, is with us. I have Tasia McIntyre in the waiting room.
You want to swear? I would call Miss Tasia McIntyre, Your Honor.
Alley?
Miss McIntyre, you're a St. Francis Ministries pharmacy specialist.
Yes, sir.
In that capacity, you're familiar with child, the subject of our suit.
Yes.
And John is currently placed where?
In Houston, Texas.
And what kind of home?
It's St. George's. It's a GRO.
And is that placement meeting all of his needs at this time?
Currently, they are.
And how long has he been in that current placement?
Since December 27th.
And John's changed placements a number of times since we started our case.
Yes, sir.
Is this placement, is he happier in this placement?
He is.
And is this placement meeting his needs?
They are at this current time.
Is he in school?
He is.
And do you know what kind of grades he's making?
I actually just got his report card this morning, and they were all passing.
He was placed in the department's care due to his behaviors. Is he still receiving adequate counseling and medical, mental appointments?
Yes, sir, he is.
Is he taking medications?
Yes, sir, he is.
Are those medications being monitored appropriately?
Yes, they are.
Has he informed you whether or not he believes those medications are working?
Yes, he said that he feels fine on them with no concerns.
John's adopted mother is Kendra Harvey.
That's correct.
And she was ordered to work some services. Has she worked whatever services we've asked her to do?
That's correct.
Today is a final hearing. What is your recommendation as to what we should be done with John today?
PMC to the department with medical and child support.
And is there a reason that it would not be safe to return John to Miss Harvey's care?
Yes.
What are those reasons?
Due to his own personal behaviors, also he does not have the best relationship with his stepfather as well, and it just would not be a safe environment for anybody involved.
And have you talked with Miss Harvey about that?
I have spoke with Miss Harvey about things, and her main concern, I believe, would still be her other child in the home and herself, the safety.
So there are continuing safety issues even after we've been working at this for a year?
Yes, sir.
Miss Harvey actually has a young child in her home.
That's correct.
And there were some incidents that put that child at risk prior to the removal.
Yes.
Do you know, is Miss Harvey working somewhere?
Yes, she's a school employee.
Do you know what she makes monthly?
I mean, I don't, not specifically.
It's okay. I'll take care of that in a minute. But at this time, you believe it's in the best interest of John for him to be placed in the permanent managing conservatorship of the department and for his placement to be continued.
Absolutely.
I'll pass the witness, Sean.
All right, Ms. McIntyre, this is kind of an unusual situation, but John's had some real problems with assaultive behavior, correct?
That's correct.
So would you say that it would be a continuing danger to his physical health and safety as well as others in Ms. Harvey's home for him to be returned to her today?
Yes, I would.
And would you say it would be not only contrary to John's welfare, but also contrary to the other child's welfare and maybe Ms. Harvey's to be returned home today?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see, Mr. Adams, questions?
Yeah, just briefly, Honor. Ms. McIntyre, does John continue to have behavior problems resulting from visitation from his stepfather?
That is correct.
And he's had visitations recently with his mother and stepfather?
That's correct. Right before we moved him to Houston, he did have a visit.
Okay. Do you think it would be in John's best interest to restrict the visitation of the stepfather?
I do. I do.
Okay, no further questions, John.
All right. Ms. Harvey, did you have any questions for Ms. McIntyre?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Albee, anything further from the department?
Not from this witness, Your Honor. I would call Miss Harvey.
Okay.
Miss Harvey, are you in agreement that it would not be safe to return John to your home at this time?
Yes, sir.
And that it would be contrary to not only his general welfare, but to yours and your family's general welfare if he was returned home?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that what we're asking today is that he be placed in the permanent managed conservatorship of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services?
Yes, sir.
Are you okay with that?
It hurts my heart, but for our safety and for his and to do what's best for him. Yes, sir.
You understand, and or you may not understand, but that we're not terminating any parental rights that you may have. You will still have visitation rights. They may be restricted for a while, but you will have visitation rights. And if at some point in time everything becomes safe, we could place the child back in your care if and when that becomes something that you want us to do. Okay?
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, are you working?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work?
I'm a teacher.
And approximately how much a month do you bring home?
I bring home $2,700 a month.
And there's been testimony that you have other children at home. How many other children at home do you have?
I have my adopted daughter and my stepson.
How old are they?
17 and 13.
Is there insurance on John at this time?
He was insured through Medicaid.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Harvey. I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Adams.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Adams, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, rest.
Okay. Mr. Adams, did you have any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Harvey, is there anything else you want to tell me, or did you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, give me just a minute. Okay, based upon the evidence I've heard today, then I will name the department permanent managing conservator. I will name Ms. Harvey permanent possessory conservator. I will continue John's current placement. I'm going to set Ms. Harvey's child support based on minimum wage, accounting for the children that she has in the home that she testified to. And I will set her medical reimbursement at $35 per month. Both the child support and medical reimbursement will be due and payable beginnings February 1st, 2024, and be due and payable on the same day of each month thereafter until further court order. We will have our next review hearing on July 12th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance to see what time we'll actually have that hearing. Final hearing. Mr. Albee is with us for the department. Casa is with us. Mr. Michelson is not with us yet. He was in another hearing, said he might be a little bit late. He's representing the child, and Miss Archer's with us representing an unknown father. The mother, Miss Thomas, has previously been terminated on an interlocutory basis. She is not with us, and I have no one in the waiting room. We're running a little behind, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll watch for Mr. Michelson, and I'll bring him in as soon as he can join us. So, Mr. Albee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Miss Cassie.
Mr. Albee.
Miss Kopic, St. Francis Ministries Primacy Specialist.
Yes.
Grayson is currently placed where?
He's placed in a foster home in Amarillo with his sisters.
And is that placement meeting all of Grayson's needs?
Yes.
Any special issues, and I'm going to talk about visitation in a minute. So outside of visitation, any special issues or special needs about Grayson that we need to bring to the court's attention?
No, he's doing great. He's on target developmentally. There's no issues with him.
All right. Now, as Grayson's mother, Tahiti Thomas, her parental rights were terminated based upon an affidavit of relinquishment that was filed, and we previously had a hearing where that was done, correct?
Correct.
All right. She has told us that she does not know who the father of this child is.
She did tell us that. I kept pestering her to get an answer. She did give me a name of an individual who I reached out to, and he denied being the parent. He said that he doesn't know why that she continues to tell people that he slept with her, because he did not. But he says he is not the father.
And are you aware that the department asked and ran a paternity registry search?
Yes.
And you're aware that the paternity registry search came back, no one claiming to be the child's father?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, we would offer up the certified copy of the paternity registry search that is currently on file with the court.
All right.
Petitions Exhibit 1.
All right. Objections?
No objection.
All right. Petitioner's one is submitted.
Since this case has been filed and we put on notice that we were looking for a father by posting, has anybody come forward saying that they're this child's father?
No.
This child is how old?
5 months, almost 6 months old.
Are you asking any unknown child's father, or any unknown father to this child's parental rights be terminated at this time?
Yes.
Do you believe that's in Grayson's best interest?
Yes.
And is your understanding that the placements, well, first of all, what is the placement's name?
Landon Wilson is the placement's name.
Is your understanding that Mr. Wilson is going to seek adoption to Grayson?
Yes.
In order to allow Mr. Wilson to adopt Grayson, there has to be a termination of any unknown father's parental rights.
Yes.
And you believe that that's in the best interest of Grayson?
Yes.
Even though Ms. Thomas filed an affidavit of relinquishment of her parental rights, and even though the court terminated her parental rights, she's been exercising some visits with her other 2 children.
Yes, she has visits with her girls. She's never had visits with Grayson.
And just for the record, Grayson's been in Landon Wilson's care pretty much from birth.
Yes, when he was released from the hospital, he went to Landon's home.
And Ms. Thomas is aware that Grayson is in that home.
Yes.
And Ms. Thomas recently has shown some stalking type tendencies toward Mr. Wilson concerning Grayson.
Yes.
She wants to be able to see Grayson. She wants to be able to provide Grayson with toys and diapers and blankets and those kind of things, but she's done that without the permission of Landon.
Correct. At the last visit with the girls, she tried to give, and to my knowledge, she hasn't tried to give anything prior to this, but she gave like some stuff for the baby, and she also gave him frozen breast milk that I guess she had been collecting.
And Mr. Wilson has advised you that she's followed him around, and even sat outside the Bear Foundation home for a long period of time, waiting for Mr. Wilson to leave that home.
Yes, at the last visitation, they followed Landon to the CPA address, attempting to follow her home or follow him home with the girls. This made Landon very uncomfortable because he did have the two girls in the car, and I guess they were pulling up beside the car as well, like trying to get them to pull over. But they did go to the agency and sit there about an hour. And then finally, the agency case manager went outside to get Tahiti to leave, and she finally did leave. And they were able to, go home. And
You're asking the court today to make sure that there are, or to put into effect a no contact between Miss Thomas, who's had her parental rights terminated, and Grayson, an order of no contact at this time.
yes,
And you think that's in Grayson's best interest also?
yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Archer?
Did Tahiti mention any other possible fathers in this case?
No, she's pretty much said that she doesn't know who the father is. I guess there was quite a few people that she didn't catch the names of. And then the one name that she did give me, I did talk to him, and he said that he wasn't the father.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Michelson's still not with us. So, Mr. Alley, did you have any further witnesses?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right. Okay, then, if everyone rests, then Casa, anything to add?
Your Honor, we agree with terminating on all unknown fathers and moving forward with adoption. We also are in agreement with the no contact order between Tahiti and Grayson. And we would also hope that that no contact order could include Mr. Wilson as well.
That Mr. Wilson have no contact with Tahiti?
With Tahiti.
Okay.
Or Tahiti have no contact with him.
Okay. Does Casa want to stay in this case or be dismissed?
We'd like to stay in it, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then give me just a minute. All right. Then based upon the evidence I've heard today, first of all, I will make the interlocutory termination of the mother, Tahiti Danielle Thomas. I'll make that a final order of the court today. I will further find that any unknown fathers are terminated based on Texas Family Code section 161.002 subsection B3. I will name the department permanent managing conservator. I will continue Grayson's current placement. I'll order that Mr. Michelson as Grayson's attorney ad litem and Casa remain in the case. All others will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. And I will order there be no contact between Ms. Thomas and the child, nor between Ms. Thomas and Mr. Wilson, the current placement for the child. All right. Let's see. We will have the next hearing in this case will be on April 3rd, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance to see exactly what time that hearing will take place. Permanency hearing. Mr. Albie's with us for the department. Casa is with us. Mr. Adams is with us representing the child. Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the mother, Ms. Crossman, who I show is incarcerated. The guardian of the child, Molly Crossman, is with us. And the alleged father, Austin Morton, is not with us, and he is not in the waiting room. This case was set for 11:15. It's now 11:23. We'll proceed in Ms. Crossman and Mr. Betsy Crossman and Mr. Morton's absence. All right, Mr. Albie, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Ms. Alicia Walker. Is he currently placed?
He's placed with his aunt Roxanne in Amarillo
And how long has he been in that placement?
since December 21st.
And is that placement meeting all of his needs at this time?
Yes.
And they're making sure that he is attending all of his counseling, medical, and dental appointments?
Yes.
Is he making progress in his behaviors?
Yes, he's done really well so far.
Is he currently in school?
Yes.
Where's he going to school?
He goes to school.
And how's he doing in school?
He's doing well. I mean, he just started last Monday, but so far so good.
Any special issues or special needs with Mason that we need to bring to the court's attention today?
No.
Mason's mother is Betsy Crossman.
Right.
She's currently incarcerated.
Yes.
And do you know if she has a release date at this time?
She should be released in sometime of 2025, but I don't have an actual date.
Have you been in communication with Miss Crossman?
I've been sending her letters. I'm not sure if she's been receiving them, but she also has an LPS worker who sees her face to face every month.
Has she responded to your letters?
No, I haven't received anything.
Do you know if the LPS worker has talked with her about services?
Yes, she has.
Do you know if she's working any services in an effort to have Mason return to her when she gets released?
She's not able to do anything while in prison.
She has alleged that Austin Morton is the father to this child.
Yes.
My understanding is that someone from the department actually contacted him at the beginning of the case, and he denied that he was the father. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Since then, we have not had any contact with Mr. Morton.
Right.
We've not been able to find him at any of the addresses we've tracked down for him.
Yes, that's right.
Have you done a diligent search looking for him?
Yes.
Are you asking the court then today to allow us to post notice and serve him through posting today?
Yes.
Because his mom is in prison and because we can't find Mr. Morton, would you agree with me that it would be not safe to return Mason to either parent at this time?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that it would be contrary to his general welfare to be returned to either parent at this time?
Yes.
He was removed from his aunt's home, Molly Crossman.
Yes.
Have you been in contact with Molly Crossman?
Yes, I have.
Has she expressed an opinion as to whether or not she would have Mason come home to her?
She would not like to have him return to her at this time.
Is she aware of where he is currently placed?
Yes.
And does she have any objections to that? Has she voiced any objections to that?
No, she hasn't.
Are you asking then that the court continue that placement as is?
Yes.
And that the department be continued as temporary managed conservator Mason at this time?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Right, Ms. Kincaid?
Thank you, Your Honor. Is there any way to send like a parenting packet or any other informational packet or for Ms. Crossman to fill out for you?
Yes, I can contact her LPS worker to see if she can send her something.
Okay. And she did sign a copy of the service plan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so how did you receive that?
The LPS worker emailed it to me.
Okay. So you are getting information from her. It's just through that LPS worker.
Right.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Adams.
Ms. Walker, is Mason continuing to get therapy at his current placement?
Yes, he just had his first session last week.
Okay, because he was moved, he just started with a new therapist?
Yes.
Okay, but he's been doing well so far?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Walker, I read that Mason's on 2 psychotropic medications. Are they being monitored at least every 30 days by a psychiatrist or a physician?
Yes, he should. I don't know if he's had an appointment with a psychiatrist yet, but I have talked to Roxanne about that.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Ms. Crossman, did you have any questions for Ms. Walker?
No.
No. Okay, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Alba, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, rest.
All right, Ms. Kincaid, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor, I rest.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
And Ms. Crossman, anything you need to testify to, or did you have any witnesses today?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Adams, recommendations?
Recommendations that the the department remain temporary managing conservator and that the placement remain as is.
Okay. All right, then, Casa, anything to add today?
Nothing to add. We agree, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue Mason's current placement. I will order that Austin Morton, the alleged father, may be served by posting. We will have our next hearing in this case on May 15th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearings, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance to May 15th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Mr. Albee is with us for the department. Mr. Adams is with us representing the child. Mr. Pirtle is with us representing the mother, Miss Taylor. She is not in the waiting room. Mr. Pirtle, were you expecting her?
Your Honor, whenever I try to contact her, it says that her phone is turned off or not accepting phone calls at this time. And I've never been able to talk to my client.
Okay. All right, then. I have Megan Jepcott in the waiting room. Is she a witness?
She is, Your Honor. I would call Ms. Jepcott, Your Honor. Ms. Jepcott, you are a supervisor working with the family-based services with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Yes.
In that capacity, are you familiar with Bailey Taylor, who has been ordered to work services out of Gray County, Texas?
Yes, sir.
And has Miss Taylor been working the services that she was ordered to work?
Yes, she is.
Has she completed all of the services that were ordered for her to complete?
She had her psychological with Stonebridge on January 10th. She had her OSAR with Linda Dudley on January 5th, and we are waiting for those results.
So she has not completed sufficient services to be to stop having to work those services. Would you agree?
Correct. Yes.
So are you asking that she be continued in an order to complete services that were mandated by this court?
Yes.
Salem is a 3-year-old child that currently resides with Miss Taylor.
Yes.
And is Salem still safe in the home with Miss Taylor?
The last thing you asked was Sailor still safe in the home with Miss Taylor?
Miss Jeffcott, you dropped off. I asked you if Salem was safe in the home. What was your answer, please?
Yes, he is.
And are there any additional orders that you believe the court needs to make for Miss Taylor at this time?
No.
So we're just asking that the court continue the current orders as they are.
Yes.
I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Pirtle?
No questions.
All right. And Mr. Adams?
I'm sorry. No questions, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Mr. Albee, anything further?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
All right. Mr. Pirtle, anything further?
Nothing further, Judge. Rest.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, recommendations?
That the mother continue with the services as ordered.
Okay. All right. Mr. Albee, did you want another compliance hearing?
Yes, Your Honor, 60 days or so.
Okay. I've got March 6th or April 17th, whichever you'd like.
March 6th would be sufficient, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then I will.
Your Honor, can I add that although it's not court ordered, we did ask Ms. Taylor to drug test, and she tested by urinalysis for us on January 8th and was negative.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will order that Ms. Taylor continue working the services as previously ordered by this court. I will set the next compliance hearing for March 6th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearings, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance of March 6th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Mr. Albee's with us for the department. Okay, Ms. Nelson's with us for CASA. Mr. Barfield's with us representing the child. Ms. Archer's with us representing the mother, Ms. Ramirez, who's incarcerated. Mr. Michelson is not with us still. I don't know if he's still in other hearings or I've got one person on a phone line I'll try to get in. And Mr. Herrera, the father, is present. Mr. Albee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Ms. Haley Grissom. Ms. Grissom, as a St. Francis Ministries permanency specialist, are you familiar with the child subject to this?
Yes.
And Carter is how old?
She's 2.
And where is she currently placed?
She is placed with her father.
Where at? What county?
In Pampa, Texas.
How long has she been placed in her father's care?
Since July 7th of 23.
And is he making sure that she is meeting or being taken care of appropriately?
Yes.
Does he make sure that she goes to all of her dental and medical appointments?
Yes.
Are there any special issues or special needs that Carter has that have become apparent with Carter that we need to make the court aware of today?
No, sir.
Child's mother is Caitlin Ramirez.
Yes.
Caitlin is currently incarcerated at TDC.
Yes, sir.
And do you know a release date for Caitlin at this time?
The projected release date that I have is August 2nd of 2024.
She has been incarcerated pretty much since the child was born.
From my understanding, yes.
And you have provided an order that she work some services?
Yes.
Has she been able to work any services at this time?
I believe that the pre-release program that she is in does have services that cover some of what is on her service plan, but I have not been able to get specifics about what is offered.
Has she provided you with any completions of any of those programs?
No, sir.
She has discussed possibly being released as early as March of 2024. Have you seen any documentation that shows that she may be released that early?
No, I have not personally seen that, no.
Would you agree with me that it would not be safe to return Carter to Miss Ramirez at this time?
I agree with that.
It would be contrary to Carter's general welfare to do so.
Yes, it would.
In the meantime, the child's been placed in Nathan Herrera, the father's home.
Yes.
And was he ordered to work services?
Yes.
And has he completed the services he was ordered to work?
Yes, he has.
There was some concerns about previous domestic violence or assaultive behaviors. Was that addressed during the time when he was working services for the department?
Yes, it was.
Are there any additional services currently that Mr. Herrera needs to be working?
No, he just needs to cooperate in allowing visits and continue drug testing requests, and he is doing both of those things.
Any positive drug screens since our last hearing?
No, I sent him for a screen or for a test last week, I believe on the 9th, and it returned negative.
Do you know what the current dismissal date in this case is?
I believe it is June 15th of 2024.
Do we need to set a final date then for our next hearing?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Archer.
Ms. Grissom, have you received any documentation that my client has done parenting classes?
I have not, no.
Did you receive any emails from me recently with any completions of any classes of any kind?
Not me personally, I don't believe. I don't remember seeing anything.
Okay. Have you been in contact with Caitlin at all since she's been incarcerated?
The previous caseworker did have phone calls with her. I have not been able to set up a phone call with her yet. I've had some trouble with the Halbert unit, but I did get a caseworker assigned, like a courtesy caseworker, to go see her in person. So she will be going in person to see her this month.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Barfield.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Herrera, Mr. Michelson still hasn't joined us. Did you have any questions for Ms. Grissom?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Alvey, anything further?
No, Your Honor. We rest.
All right, Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
Yes, I'd like to call Caitlin Ramirez.
Okay. Ms. Archer.
Ms. Ramirez, how old was Carter when you became incarcerated?
She was almost 2 years old.
And did Carter live with you up until that time?
Yes.
Have you been taking parenting classes?
I finished parenting and a customer service class, and then I had already submitted the list of the other classes that I'm in.
Yes, I believe the court should have those from our prior hearing. Have you
Yes.
completed any other classes and received certificates that you want us to know about?
Those are the only two that I've completed. While I was in county, I had completed anger management, but I'm doing that again here, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But so far, I've just completed the parenting class and the customer service class.
And when do you believe that you'll be released?
I will be released in March.
And what are you basing that belief on?
If you check online where it says the projected release date that they're getting in August, it says that I am to be released upon completion of a program. I complete my program for parole on February the 10th. I've talked to parole and I will be going home the first half of March.
And is it your desire that when you are released in March to be reunited with Carter?
Absolutely.
Is there anything further that you need to tell the court?
I don't think so. I still haven't got or seen a service plan throughout this whole thing, and I would kind of like that. And I'm doing everything that I can from where I'm at.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Albee, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Barfield?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Herrera, did you have any questions for Ms. Ramirez?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Archer, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Judge.
All right, Mr. Barfield, witnesses.
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Herrera, did you want to testify or did you have any witnesses?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Barfield, recommendations.
My recommendation, department continue as temporary managing conservator with placement as is, Your Honor, and that we get a final date set.
Okay, thank you. And Casa, anything to add?
Your Honor, we would just request that if Ms. Ramirez is released before the final hearing, that any visitation between her and Carter should be supervised by St. Francis.
Okay. All right, then. Give me just a minute. All right, then. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue Carter's current placement. I'll order that Ms. Ramirez be provided a copy of her written service plan immediately. I will set a final in this case for May 15th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearings, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of May 15 to see exactly what time that hearing will take place. Mr. Albee is with us for the department. Mr. Harris is with us representing the children. And Ms. Grant is with us representing the mother, Ms. Ugundi, who is with us. All right. Understanding from what I just heard, we've got an agreement in this case?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Somebody want to just announce what that agreement is?
I will. This is a Texas Family First case, Your Honor, with the idea that we will leave the children in the care of their mother at this time. She has agreed to work a family plan of service that was developed for her, which includes intensive family center treatment, parenting, and regular medical checkups for the children.
Okay.
Once the court has approved that agreement and orders that Ms. Ugundi work those services, then the department's going to ask that this case be transferred to Moore County, as Ms. Ugundi is now residing in Dumas.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Grant, is this your client's agreement?
It is, Your Honor, and she understands the transfer to Moore County, and I've explained to her that should I be appointed once it's transferred, that I also will be over there doing in-person hearings and we can meet there. So she does agree and understands.
Okay. I'll just leave you on, and that would be up to whoever hears the department's cases over there as to that. So,
yes,
okay.
sir.
All right, then, Mr. Harris, are you in agreement?
Your Honor, I am. And in the order, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't work in Moore County, so my appointment will cease after this hearing, Your Honor.
Okay. And since we're transferring this case, I won't be setting any compliance hearings. You can take that up with the judge who will take the case. So I will approve this agreement. I'll order Ms. Ugundi to work the services as set out in the department's petition. I will dismiss Mr. Harris from the case once that will become effective once I sign a transfer order, and I'll be happy to sign that whenever it's presented to me. All right, then. I appreciate y'all working that out. That will conclude this hearing. I will be.